to be back and have some nice discussions with you.
Good evening,
Today,
sir.
very good evening, very good evening. And today I am going to talk about a very interesting topic. I hope we will have some fruitful discussions. Yoga as a tool for biorhythm regulation. See, what we understand from yoga, mostly in the West, the understanding is that yoga is related to just some practices, mainly the physical practices. And it is taken usually as something that can just enhance your well-being, or it can improve your flexibility. But as participants in this course would very well know now, that yoga is much more beyond that. Yoga is a complete lifestyle, and it is not only just the techniques that are related to body. There are techniques related to breath, there are techniques related to the mind, but even those techniques, the way that we understand that they work, that we think that by the physical asanas we are gaining physical strength and flexibility. By doing pranayama we are getting the strength to our cardiorespiratory system or certain cognitive effects. And by doing meditation we are able to activate certain areas of the brain or build up our gray matter or protect our brain health. This is what is current science about yoga. But if you go into the roots of yoga, you will understand that these techniques have much more deeper meaning. And by deeper meaning, I mean that these, in a way, are very subtle kind of techniques which have an effect on attuning the individual to the cosmic rhythms. So in a way, yoga harmonizes the whole system, and it brings a synchrony between the nature around you, the universe around you, your own mind, body, breath system within you. So there are, the yoga practices bring a synchrony and rhythm within you. They bring a synchrony and rhythm around you. And that is why the word yoga means yuj, which means to connect. By connection, what we mean, it is not a kind of a physical connection that is happening, that you are touching. It is, the connection means that you get into the same phase, as the nature is going. When we do yoga together also, we observe that everybody moves together, everybody breathes together, the awareness goes together, and there is something called as coupling of this consciousness that happens. So in that sense, if you see the another dimension that yoga brings up is this dimension of harmony and synchrony. So it is an ancient way of living according to the laws of existence. That is what is actually, what we call as the Sanatana Dharma, and a lot of debate is going on about it. It is not about, judging people or labeling them into different categories. Sanatana Dharma fundamentally means that there are certain laws which are there, on the basis of which this whole creation has been made. At a physical level, you have the law of gravitation. We have Newton's third law working. It works on the matter, that or energy, where you put an action, there is equal and opposite reaction that happens. But when you go to the subtle levels, say at the Annamaya Kosha level, at the physical level, there is an action, there is equal and opposite reaction. But when you go into the level of the mind, when you go at the level of the mind, if there is an action, if there is an input, if I perceive something, it is not necessary that there will always be an equal and opposite reaction to it. Shankaracharya, a great philosopher from South India, he said that kartum akartum anyatha kartum shakyam. What did he say? That to a situation you have the freedom either to react as if you are just a matter, there is no consciousness component involved, or you have the freedom to not to respond at all. So this is against the Newton's third law, there is no reaction. or you have the freedom even to respond entirely differently. Mahatma Gandhi said, if somebody slaps you on one cheek, you show him another cheek. So this is the principle of ahimsa. So he decided to react in a very different manner, exactly opposite to the Newton's third law. Why that happened? It is because of recognition of the inner laws of freedom. So I am bound to certain laws at the physical level. When I go to psychological level, I get more flexibility on those laws. And then when I am able to go further deep into very core of my existence, my freedom increases. And with the increase in freedom, I get more and more synchronized with the cosmic rhythms. And through those cosmic rhythms, synchronization is actually the well-being, the resilience that yogis have. It comes. So therefore, hatha means the sun, tha means the moon, and actually it is just not the activation of sympathetic or parasympathetic that we are talking about. In a very subtle sense, these are the tools to connect to the cosmos, to harness the energy of the cosmos, and to improve not only one's well-being, but the well-being of the whole cosmos. So the right is generally considered as the sun part of it, the right nostril, the right side of the body, and the left is considered as the lunar aspect of it. So this is another way of technology, another technology of inner sciences. In India, thousands of years ago, these sages who were scientists, they had an option. They started with external exploration. As you see in Taittiriya Upanishad, the first understanding that Bhrigu gets is Annam Brahmeti Vijanat. He says matter is Brahman. From matter only everything comes and everything dissolves. After that, at the next stage, he comes to the understanding Pranam Brahmeti Vijanat. I realize now that matter is not everything. Energy is everything. From energy, everything is created and sustained by the energy and dissolves in energy. This is what where science has reached. Einstein said E equal to mc square. Everything is energy. But then the sages were able to go further down when they tried to reach the external cosmos through this pranic formula. They would have come to this realization that ultimately at the end of it, the observer remains. I am observing the electrons moving, becoming a wave, becoming a particle. And now the physicists have come to this kind of a deadlock, where observation itself changes the movements or the patterns of electrons. So now, if observing itself has become a bias, when I don't observe, they behave differently. When I observe, their nature is different. Then I'm missing the truth. Now, how do you overcome this observer bias? Without observation, how will I conclude? So it is here that, the science comes to a kind of a blockage. And then the sages understood that. And then, therefore, they said that for understanding deeper secrets of the universe, this observer has to go. But still, there should be some perception. So if observer has to go away and some perception has to happen, you have to explore the inner world. And that is why then Bhrigu says, let me now turn inwards. Till then he was out. Annam Brahmeti Vijanat, matter. Then he said energy, he was out. After that, he reached a kind of a saturation. Okay, the observer bias will still remain. Then suddenly, in the next phase of Taittiriya Upanishad, he takes a turn inwards. And then he comes to the conclusion that Manam Brahmeti Vijanat, Vijnanam Brahmeti Vijanat, Anandam Brahmeti Vijanat. He says, first he realizes that These are emotions that are in a way connected to this matter. Then he realizes that these emotions are still superficial. The deeper force working here is the power of the intellect, the ability to discriminate or understand the laws of the cosmos. That is the Vijnanamaya Kosh. Vijnanamaya Kosh is not only your intellect. Vijnanamaya Kosh is a very subtle ability, a kind of a intuition also comes in there, where you understand very deep spiritual laws that run this cosmos. And then at the very core, he comes to this realization that ultimately the core of creativity, the very substance of this existence is nothing but pure bliss and joy. So this technology of inner sciences is all about attuning oneself to the rhythms of the cosmos, the laws of the cosmos. And then when you live a life of certain attunement for a certain amount of time, you gain that amount of potential energy within you. Then there is a jump to the next orbit. We all know that electron has to get some potential energy, then it keeps revolving, and we feel that okay, nothing is happening, but something is happening. When we undergo the same daily routine every day, we get up, we go see our patients, come back, talk to students, come back, we feel that we are at the same place, same routine is going on, my life is monotonous. But there, if you are aware of the law of the karma yoga, where you say that, okay, these actions I am not doing for myself, neither I am doing it for the people around, I am doing it for the very source of this creation. So I dedicate my action to the source of this creation. Then what happens? The same daily routine, the household lady, I gave you the example last time, same routine you keep doing, but sudden change in the internal world, the attitude inside, understanding a deeper law, you get into the pedestal of deep spiritual evolution, and nature starts revealing secrets to you one after another. So here the action from a change in the internal attitude became a potential for evolution. So here understanding these kind of laws and attuning oneself is very important. And sorry. Yeah. So the next thing that we have to understand here is that these biorhythms, when you attune yourself to, when you attune first you have to balance the rhythms in your body, then in your energy, then in your emotions, then in your Vijnanamaya Kosha, the subtle spiritual laws, you have to attune yourself to that. When you do that kind of an attunement and you live your life, with yamas and niyamas and all those deeper laws, the happiness that you seek starts manifesting from within you more and more. A yogi has a glow on his face, always cheerful and always satisfied. And then with this comes more and more potential of expressing creativity and joy, and also the strength to not only understand the laws of the nature, but the freedom to create at deeper and deeper level something which is unimaginable, by the human beings. We all know that, in the yogic lore. So how wonderfully these sages, thousands of years ago, it goes down 10,000 years ago when these Vedas were written, were able to explore the cosmos and then take a direction and go to the very source of the creation and come up with these laws. So with this improvement in the biorhythms at all the Panchakosha levels, ultimately what happens is that you develop intense resilience in your physical energy and the mental system. So when you go to the traditional texts and search about biorhythms, then one text that stands forth is Swara Yoga. So Muktananda has written a commentary on that. The tantric science of breathing, and it is the Shiva who gave this knowledge to Parvati, and Shiva Sarvodaya is the original text where all these discussions regarding these biorhythms have been done. Here we see this wonderful shloka, Shakti Rupa Sthita Chandro. How is the Chandra? How is the left? His Shakti Rupa Sthita has a component of bringing stability, and it is the feminine component. And then Vama, Nadi Pravahaka. Hascha Shambhurupa Divakaraha. The right one is Shambhurupa, the Shiva Rupa. And what does it represent? Or what does it connect? What does it connect to? Divakara. Divakara is the sun. So left, feminine, Shakti, that is Parvati. Right, masculine, Shambhu. Left is the moon, right is the sun. And the whole creation, this whole planet has come between the sun and the moon. On one side of the earth, there is sun, on the other side, there is moon. And with these two radiations coming together, we are existing in the middle. So therefore, yoga understood this deep inner science and then developed these inner technologies to attune oneself. There are very wonderful kind of insights with these texts have given, So other shloka says, Ida Nadi on the left is like Amrita, the nectar. Moon is always connected to Amrita. It always is very pleasing, very calm, cool, relaxing. It also nourishes you. When you get nourished, you get strength. Whereas the right one, when the sun comes, the whole new creation is revealed to you. In the night, everything is dark. You don't know what is where. But as the sun comes, the whole cosmos, the whole forest, the rivers, the ocean, everything becomes visible to you when the sun comes. So the right is the nostril which unveils, and gives the deeper dimensions of the life. In all kinds of auspicious affairs, the left, sarvatra shubhkaryeshu vama bhavati siddhada. Vama is the left. They say that the feminine is the more auspicious one, and the left one, when it is active, all the auspicious activities attend success. So in a way, they recommend that when you are nourishing yourself, when you are strengthening yourself, when you are eating food, when you are doing certain auspicious activities, or just want to go for a light walk or enjoy nature, relax yourself, the left nostril should be activated. Or if during those processes the left nostril is already active, it means your system is functioning well. Then the wise say that during the flow of the solar swara, one can certainly obtain knowledge of the subtle or inaccessible things. That is what I said. Sun reveals the subtle. While under the flow of the lunar swara, the results are reversed. In the lunar swara, you just have to calm down, relax, nourish yourself. But then you explore in the Surya swara. Chandra, the lunar flow, is the feminine principle, and Surya, the solar flow, is the masculine principle. Understand that the moon is Shakti, the sun is Shiva. The complexion of the moon is fair, and that of the sun is dark. During the flow of Chandra Nadi, placid work should be done. So no too much of active, vigorous work should be done when the left nadi is flowing. When your left nadi is flowing, the sages are saying that it is an indication that your system wants to relax and rejuvenate. So do not do very rigorous work. Whereas during the flow of the Surya nadi, difficult and hard works, more intellectually sharp discussions, all those scientific methodological discussions and explorations should be done. Even physically, the hard work should be done. You can go to gym, you can go for a run if the Surya is active. And during the flow of Sushumna, those actions leading to sensual enjoyment or liberation, mukti should be done. So Sushumna is more towards inner bliss or inner joy. Whatever activity that makes you feel the tranquil bliss within you, a balanced state is of the middle nadi, that is Sushumna, when both are equally active. If the solar swara flows at sunrise and the lunar swara flows at moonrise, all sorts of actions undertaken at any time will be prosperous. So it is an indication. How do you understand that your system is in sync with the cosmic rhythm, that my biorhythms are in sync with the cosmic rhythms? If you live a life like that, a balanced kind of a lifestyle, what will happen? As soon as you get up and keep your feet on the ground and you observe your nostrils, the right nostril will be active. So your system is prepared to toil for the day, to exert all your intellectual intensity for the day. And then as the day ends, as you retire into yourself, naturally the swara will shift to the left. So as soon as there is sunset and the moon rise, around 7 p.m., 8 p.m., you start feeling that now your moon swara is getting activated. Now what people do is, when the solar swara is activated, they go in the bed, and want to sleep for 2-3 more hours. Now you have brought a dysrhythm, or when the moon swara is getting activated, the whole system wants to calm down. They open their laptop and start working very intensely. So we have to understand, the rhythms within ourselves and regulate our lifestyle with that. That what it will do is, it will enhance your efficiency, and also bring a very deep kind of a resilience within your physical and mental systems. But if the solar swara is active at moonrise and the lunar swara is, if you have reversed your lifestyle, that is what we see in most of the youngsters, in the night, late night. Now what is happening, that they get up in the evening, then whole night they will roam around and be very active, and then morning 4 o'clock they'll come, get onto the bed and sleep. So exact reversal of the swaras. They will also observe that their nadis also start flowing like that. Then what will happen? You will invariably gather more and more tension into your system. Whatever you may say, what you are doing is, you are gathering a tension in your system. There will be conflict where you will not be able to decide, properly. The cognitive functions also will not function properly. And when such kind of things are happening, by auspicious, they mean that you will not be able to achieve that amount of success that you would have otherwise assumed effortlessly if you were living in rhythm with the cosmos. So we have to understand all those aspects, because in overcoming the cosmic rhythms, lot of energy is dissipated in the friction. So if you want to swim, it is better to go with the tide. If you are always swimming against the tide, definitely you will get tired easily. So these are the characteristics of these nadis. The Ida is the left, the Pingla is the right, and the Sushumna is the balance of the both. And day, night, feminine, masculine, yin, yang, Chitta Shakti, Prana Shakti, the more emotional, more vital, more intense, minus, plus, cold, hot, intuitive, logic, So in this way, we can see all those points. And when it comes to the nervous system, we say that it is the left is the parasympathetic and right is the sympathetic. And this is the limit of our knowledge right now. So see how superficial we are still, and this yogic science, the more we know about it, the more we become curious how these sages understood these laws so many years ago, and what kind of scientists they were. Now, again, the modern science rediscovers the same thing, much, much, much later. So these nasal cycle, which the sages knew, thousands of years ago, then in 1984, physiologists came up with this kind of idea that, oh, we still didn't know that left and right are changing their swaras. The whole swara yoga is based on this change, and sages have even devised the techniques of how to bring the activation of the left to do certain activity, how to do activation of right to do certain activities. But scientists very, very recently only become even aware that, oh, right and left are two different entities. They are not the same. Okay. So they say that the congestion and decongestion in the right and the left nostril alternates. One flows more freely for some time, other flows more, with more difficulty. The nostril that is flowing more freely is considered as the dominant nostril. The more resistant nostril is, it is difficult. So that nostril is not dominant at that particular time. Subjectively, if you just close your eyes, keep your hands here, or you just close one nostril, breathe in, breathe out, you will hear more sound of resistance while breathing, whereas the other one, you feel more free. So what is happening here? I am doing an intense cognitive activity, taking your lecture, and I am observing that my right is active right now. It is good. I have got up, I am ready for the day, and I feel my right is active. So somewhere I am thinking that, okay, I am attuned to the cosmic rhythms. So this is the right time that I am taking your class. Now these nasal cycles, they measured the temperature of the air, and they observed that 1 to 3 degrees Celsius, there is a difference between the temperature of the air between the resistant and the non-resistant kind of a nostril, and in a very subtle way, through the temperature difference, they were able to make out which nostril is dominant. And this cycle, it keeps shifting, and it is very variable, but on an average, people say that every 45 minutes to 4 hours, it keeps shifting, and there are very deeper mechanisms what decides one dominance remains for how much time. So you can see here the scientists observed like this. Another study published in 2003, observed that these nasal rhythms, the alternating between right and left, that goes on, it also goes on even during the sleep. So it is in the wakeful state that they keep shifting. It is in the sleep also that they keep shifting, and there is also a relationship between the REM and the non-REM sleep. So when the shift is happening from non-REM to REM, it is synchronizing in general in 70% of the time with that. So people were able to observe that there is a phasic relationship between the sleep cycle and the nasal cycle. So what I mean to say is, we also know that there are cycles of cerebral lateralized rhythms. At one time, one hemisphere is active, then it shifts to another, then it comes back to this. And these are also on an average 1.5 hour kind of a cycle. So this is known as the alternating cerebral hemisphere activity rhythm, which in scientific language is called as the phenomena of lateralization. What does lateralization mean? That you are not always in the center. You always keep shifting to the right, then to the left, for some time in the center, again to the right, again to the left, then for some time in the center. This Ida Pingla diagram, it goes like this, or just here. The Kundalini, if you see, always right, left, right, left, right, left. So this has been observed scientifically. Cerebral EEG activities, people have seen that the cerebral hemisphere shows this lateralization phenomena, and that also synchronizes with the nasal cycle. So this is the study that we did, where what we did was we asked the subject to do forced right and left nostril breathing. So 32 subjects, healthy individuals were recruited, and they were asked to come randomly for 3 different interventions on 3 different days. First day they came and performed the right nostril breathing. Second day they came and performed the left nostril breathing. It was a 15-minute kind of intervention. Third day they came and performed the alternate. The third day they came and performed the breath awareness. So only right. We continuously recorded their prefrontal activation using FNIRS, the oxygenation in the prefrontal cortices on right PFC and left PFC. So we are looking at the right frontal lobe and the left frontal lobe, which is, required for planning, decision making, And what did we observe? We observed that the increased oxygenation, in the left PFC was observed as compared to, so right nostril breathing brought an activation. It brought an activation on the contralateral side, whereas the left PFC brought a deactivation on the contralateral side. So here, scientifically, we were able to see that right nostril breathing is bringing activation of the prefrontal cortices, which are required for exploring deeper secrets, which are required for planning, decision making, getting into the world and becoming active. So here there is an evidence of what was said thousands of years ago. Similarly, people observed cognitive performance and 30 minutes of forced uninostril breathing, right or left, 51 right-handed undergraduate psychology students. And at the end of it, people observed that the spatial task performance was significantly enhanced during left nostril breathing. So spatial component is a right hemisphere activity mainly, and it enhanced by doing the left breathing, whereas the verbal task, which is the left hemispheric activity, the language. So those kind of activity increase by the right nostril breathing. So we also know that the right is more emotional and the left is more logical. Left connecting to the right one. The art, design, spatial orientation, dance, all those are left, all those are right hemispheric activity, but they are connected to your left side breathing. All scientific activity, mathematical calculation, deep debates, verbal tasks, all those activities are going with the right one, and the right nostril breathing, which is connected to the left hemisphere. Then scientists have also, especially I would like to mention here Dr. Shanahoff Khalsa, who has been working in this area for, past decade. So here we see that the nasal cycle dominance and hallucinations in an adult schizophrenia female, it is a single case report taken for a long time. And what he observed was that he tried to correlate the episodes of hallucinations with the dominance of the nostril at that time. And he observed that during the left-sided breathing, there were more hallucinations because left is more imaginative. Left is more a kind of a thing where the deeper intellectual do not want to come. More creativity, more art has to come up there. More imagination has to come up there. And by doing right, breathing in and breathing out, actually, there was a reduction in the hallucination because you are getting insight into the things. The sun is shining. So if the sun is shining, definitely you will get a deeper insight. If you get a deeper insight, hallucinations or imaginations would reduce. Now, more superficial kind of studies where we see that people reported that during the right nostril kind of a breathing, there was a more flow into the lungs, the forced vital capacity, and everything was more. That goes with the theory also, because now you are starting the day, you are preparing for the day, and your system needs more oxygen because you have to do the hard work, and that is done when the right is active. So here, cross-sectional study, people, they just took 35 people, observed which nostril is dominant, right, You go to one group, left, you go to another group. And now let me observe your breathing capacity. And the people who were breathing through right, their lungs were more active. People who were breathing left, they were calm, relaxed. So their lungs were less. So it also suggests that physiologically also, when the right is active, your body is prepared to do intense activity. Whereas when the left is active, your body also wants to nourish itself, rejuvenate. Similar kind of studies were observed here also, where the right nostril breathing, people observed that there was an increase in the heart rate, whereas during the left nostril breathing, the heart was relaxing. And that's why the stroke volume was better, because it is able to stretch better in the diastole. It will pump better in the stroke volume. So left nostril breathing is good for the heart because it enhances the stroke volume, stretches the heart muscles better, whereas right one increases the heart rate. So for all the cardiac patients, I will go for the left nostril pranayama. Whereas all the person who have hallucination, who have depression, who want to enhance their cognitive function, who are becoming dull and lazy, I will go for the right nostril breathing. The very science of yoga as a therapy comes from this concept of biorhythms. So it is not only that you are just a passive observer of what is going on. The sages, the scientists also. So uni-nostril forced breathing, you can change by, say, right now I have right and I want to decide to do some relaxing activity, and there is no option that I have to do this activity now. So what I can do is I will just close my right nostril and breathe in and breathe out only from the left. And after some time, what will you observe? After some time, you will observe that the left nostril and breathe out from the left. After some 20, 25 breaths, the left swara starts coming up. So now what you are doing is you are bringing that kind of a relaxation into your system, and you are saying, yes, I want my energy to attune like this, because the task that I'm going to do is going to be like that. For doing it more intensely or faster, people do Kapalabhati like this. And then do Anuloma Viloma. Breathe in from the left, breathe out from the left. Okay. Then the stimulation of an autonomic reflex point on the fifth intercostal space near axilla also activate that particular nostril. You would have seen, in the photographs, that these sages used to carry a kind of a T-shaped wooden thing. It has a curve like this, and it has a vertical wooden pole like this. So what they would do is they would fix it in their axilla. It was not just to support their hand while they are doing the rosary. It was mainly for the Hatha yogis to fix it on the axilla like this, because the side that they would fix it in, that swara will become active. If I put it in my right side, if you just put your hand on the right and keep it pressed like this and deliberately press on your hand, after some time, it will shift to the side that you are pressing. This is axillary reflex. It is a known scientific phenomena. If you want to bring it to the left, keep your hand here and press. So especially the fifth intercostal space area should be pressed, and you will see that the swara will shift to this. Now this is another yogic discovery. Another way to do it is, the easier way to do it is, you lie down on the lateral side. So if your left nostril is blocked, you lie down on the right. The left should be up. And then keep your left leg on the right leg, gently rest your left hand there, and just breathe in and breathe out. Even if there is resistance, keep breathing in, breathing out. Within 5 minutes, you will see automatically the left will open up and it will shift to the right. If you want to open the right one, sleep like this. Whichever nostril you want to open, that nostril should be facing upwards in your lateral position. And then there are recently developed scientific techniques. Of course, always, science is more complicated. So you vagus nerve stimulation using electrical currents or surgical implant or wire and pacemaker you have to do. But these are the simpler ways. Now, there is another phenomena here, how much time does it take, for you to come back to the original position if you bring a shift also decides how much your pranic channels are open and are in rhythm, how much your biorhythms are synchronized. So all of us, let us do one simple exercise together. I want all of you to participate with me. So just now, close your eyes and observe which swara is flowing in you, which nostril is dominant in you, whether it is right or the left. If you find it difficult to make out, just close one nostril and feel where you have more resistance. Note it down, whichever nostril is right now active. Now I would like to ask people here, how many of you feel that your right is active? Just do a thumbs up. Yes? Yes, because you are more passive. Left also may be active, not a problem. Because you are just listening to me and you are relaxed. Okay, so I see certain people who say the right is active. How many people say that they have the left active right now?
Sir, I'm unable to make out.
Yes, those who say that they are balanced, that is also okay. How many say that left is active right now? Just show the thumbs up. Yeah, how many feel that both are equal? Do the thumbs up.
Sir, I'm unable to make out which is active.
If you are unable to make out, madam, then you have to, in a way, the subjective sensation of little more resistance on one side, or you can do like this. Do slow Kapalabhati, you will feel that the air that flows out in a jerk, then you can feel it better, will flow more easily through one nostril. How many of you feel that both are active? Just do the thumbs up. Fine. So now you have noted down your whichever nostril that is dominant. Now what we are going to do is we are going to do some kind of stimulation through movement of our hand by stretching the fifth intercostal space. So just come to standing position. Come to standing position. And what you have to do now is just move your hands like this up and down. The right one up, then the left one up. Continuously do it for the next 20 counts. Do it fast. Okay, start the practice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now keep your hands forward like this and start jogging at the place. Lift your knee as much up as possible. Jog fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Relax. Sit down. Now observe your nostrils. How many of you say that the nostril dominance has changed? Either it has shifted to the other side or both have opened up. Do the thumbs up. Either it has changed to the other side or both have opened up.
I feel both are open.
So do the thumbs up. And now keep observing your nostrils when it goes back to the original position. So this is a very, quick kind of a technique where those who did not feel the change, they may have to do another round of it. So those who felt that the nostril shifted to the other side, please keep a look at the watch, and do the thumbs up again when you feel that the nostril has again come back to the original position. The breathing has come back to the original position. So usually what happens is it comes back within some time, within a minute to the original position. Yeah, so people are writing, both are opened. It came back to original position. For Janvi, it came back. For whoever it has come back, please put in the chat box. Yeah, people are writing in the chat box. It has come back to original, come back to original. Come back to original, come back to original. It took around 2 minutes. My breathing has not changed earlier. Yeah, you have to do another round, madam. No problem. It has come back to original. So many people are observing this phenomena happening. Now, the yogic science says if it comes back to original, within 3 minutes, and the earlier it comes back, the more your system is in harmony, your biorhythms are in beautiful sync, your pranic channels are open. In fact, the text says, that if it takes longer than 3 minutes, then the person has lot of dysregulation of the biorhythms, and it is a sign of morbidity and mortality. So in this way, this is used as a diagnostic marker by the yogis to understand how attuned an individual is to the biorhythms. Now, this is one aspect, the right and left. The another aspect that I was telling you is regarding the morningness and eveningness, the day and the night, people, how they are attuned, how their rhythms are attuned. So this particular interesting study observed yoga practitioners, those who were more of a morning type, they would get up and do their yoga in the morning. Whereas the other people who were more evening types, they would do their yoga in the evenings. They tried to understand whether there are any personality differences between these two kinds. And what they observed was that morning types had these personality traits significantly more than the evening types. Conscientiousness, friendliness, scrupulousness means more, you can say, the punctuality, openness to culture, emotional stability, and emotional control. So there is some aspect of the personality that also is related here. Similarly, another study showed that when you do these calming, relaxing, meditative practices in the night, there is release of melatonin. So even this TM, Transcendental Meditation, is a very gentle meditation with mantra chanting. So here, with the relaxation component, we are able to see that we are able to release melatonin and enhance the quality of sleep. Because melatonin is a drug that is prescribed in insomnia. So similarly, this very beautiful study, that was conducted in SVSI University, where people observed that the cognitive performance of those students for 10 days, if they got up in Brahma Muhurta, before the sunrise, and other students who got up after sunrise, what they observed was that at the end of 20 days, the cognitive performance on digit letter substitution tasks, verbal and spatial memory tasks, it was better in the people who were in sync with the nature, so they followed that rhythm, that when the left is, right is going to just start, the sun is going to rise, they were already up. And when the left was active, they were already in the bed. So sleeping early, getting up early, remaining in sync with the nature, that those students had an advantage because they were able to concentrate better, they were able to do less errors in both verbal, spatial, and the PFC involving kind of DLCT. So this is one aspect of biorhythm, which is of the day, which is of the right and left. There is another biorhythm which goes on, the circadian rhythm, which is of the what we can say, the vertically, the day, the afternoon, the evening, and the night. So here there is another deep understanding that comes from Mandukya Upanishad. The wakeful state of me is the only me that current psychology or psychiatry understands. What about the dreaming me? What about the sleeping me? Now, these are the domains which are considered very important in yogic psychology. A is the sound for Vaishvanara Purusha. What does Vaishvanara Purusha does? He is that aspect of me which is wakeful, which is moving outward and enjoying the sense pleasures. The U is known as the Tejasa Purusha. He is the subtle aspect of me. He is the dreaming personality of me. And what does this second U? It is manifested by the sound U. The outward one is manifested by the sound A. And the second one, the U one, is enjoying the subtle mental activities and imaginations. The third one is called as the Pradnya Purusha. This is the Purusha which is not going outward into the external space, not going into the mental space. It is within itself. So it is not doing anything. In wakeful state also, you are the doer. In dream also, you are the doer. But in a state of dreamless sleep, you are not the doer. You don't do anything. And what is this state characterized by? They say Ananda Ghan. It is nothing but you become a stuff filled with happiness and bliss. You are nothing but bliss. In which state? In dreamless sleep state. So you are in the Annamaya Kosha in Akara and some part of Pranamaya Kosha. You are in the Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya Kosha in Ukara, whereas in Makara, you are in the Anandamaya Kosh. It says Ananda Bhuk Cheto Mukha. The state of Makara has been described as you eat Ananda, you eat bliss in that state. And it is Cheto Mukha, means on the verge of enlightenment. So the whole yogic psychology here is about you begin your day with A. By the evening, you get into U. By the night, you are in the Ma. And then again, you begin the day with A. So in this way, if your biorhythm is beautifully synchronized together, you will get that kind of a physical, mental resilience and deeper insight into this cosmos. Whereas if your, the morning begins with Ma, goes on till afternoon, the Makara, then from early evening starts the Akara, and then by late night you are into Ukara. So then if that kind of a rhythm that is going on, then you are making yourself vulnerable by reducing your resilience. So we were able to show that A recruits more brain networks that want to do some activity, whereas the Ma is the component where you want to calm down, and U is associated with more imaginations. So dear friends, the whole approach of these kind of balance in the physical and mental rhythms is at the physical level, we call the movement that the right does is Vata, the calming, relaxing that the left does is Kapha, the balance of both is Pitta. In the mind, the lethargic one, the relaxing one is the left one, the Tamas. The right one is the more active one, is the Rajas, and the balancing one is Sattva. So everything is woven into this biorhythmic understanding in both yoga and Ayurveda. And these are very beautiful, subtle signs which do not fight with nature. They don't block anything. They just very intelligently attune yourself to those aspects. So finally, what does a yogi do? In the beginning, the yogi aligns himself to these rhythms, but final aim is to transcend them. So Bhagavad Gita says, Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. It means that a yogi is the one who is able to bring a balance. In the wakeful state, he is able to relax deeply inside as if he is in deep sleep. Whereas in the deep sleep state, he tries to become conscious of that so that he gets enlightened. So one of the meditation technique is that you get into a conscious awareness of dreamless sleep. That is nothing but the trance and samadhi. And another meditative technique, what we do in cyclic meditation and other techniques, is you do activities, but in such a way as if you are in deep sleep inside. So by bringing a state of wakeful sleep, all meditations are a state where wakefulness and sleep come together, and you transcend, into the Turiya kind of a sthiti. And that is what we are trying to achieve by first aligning ourselves to these biorhythms. So Krishna also says, Yukta hara viharasya, yukta chestasya karmasu, yukta swapna avabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. A person who observes moderation in eating, moderation in recreation, moderation in activity and sleep, it is only he who achieves success in yoga, but the other one, however he may try, he will not be able to succeed. So this is what yoga therapy is all about. This is the essence of yoga therapy. Dear friends, thank you very much. Please stop recording.
Mind-blowing sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.